get up and running with Git. To start with, Git is if you have that document and you followed it, it will be very great. It will be easier to follow the rest. If not, I believe Ashna will share it with you. Then you can go through, but you will then have to pay attention now so that it will be easier for you to follow later. One of the problems most people have is with collaborations. I have a piece of code or document. I need someone to also work on it. How do I go by it? It's not a problem that is unique to you, but people have experienced it for a very long time. So somewhere, some brilliant people came with the idea of Git. It wasn't the first, but we can say it has been the most successful for collaboration, for teams, and for even people who don't even know themselves. You can still collaborate through Git. I'm sure you've also had the issue of final, like at the end of your document to show that, yes, you are making progress. Or where your friend is going to work on a section of your code, you also need to work on a section. Do you wait till the person finishes before you work? Or yes, Git sort of takes care of all of that so that you can work concurrently. Then you can also work collaboratively. The document has been shared. The first thing is downloading and installing Git. Luckily, it's available for all three common platforms. That's Windows, Mac, and Linux. You can download and install Git. Next, if you are very familiar with the command line, everything works on the command line as well. But as starters, it is much easier to rather work with a tool. You can use RStudio, which comes out of the box with support for it, provided Git is installed. Or you can use a different software like SourceTree, which is also in the document. SourceTree, I think, makes it easier and more pleasant to work with Git than with RStudio, even though the RStudio interface is excellent and it does everything that you often do. So to demonstrate just briefly, first of all, you need to create an account. We use online services. The most popular is GitHub, but there are other alternatives like Bitbucket and GitLab. I actually like GitLab. It was the first one I used, but GitHub is the most popular platform for collaboration. Initially, all you need is your password and your username. It is sufficient to start with. I'm just going to demonstrate something briefly to show how Git works and other things. I'm going to share my screen. Thank you, Ashna, for the link. If you are following, you can go to github.com. Okay, so once it opens, these are the things that are personal to me, the things I use. And for those who use R, I think you may notice there's something from the string processing, stringy, which is a package in R. I believe they have identified that I'm very interested in R and have decided to share these with me. You can always click on your username and go to your repositories. Your repositories are the projects that you have created. I have created many projects over here, and you can see the language that it is written in, and mostly C# and TypeScript. To start with, you can just click on new to start a project. You give it a name, Git demonstration. I'm going to set it to public. Public means anybody can access it. Anybody with a link can. Private, as you means I'm the only person who can access this document. For this demonstration, I'm going to choose public. I can start with a README, which should how maybe you want to provide instructions to people who visit your website. You can choose a license, but they are all not required for now. So I'll go ahead and create my repository. The repositories have been created and there are instructions on if I want to run these commands to get a copy of the files on my computer so that I can collaborate. For now, we can safely skip this. Okay, because this is the homepage because there is nothing. You have this, if you can download the GitHub desktop app and just work with it. It will be very smooth for you. You can choose to work with HTTPS, which will require your username and your password, or you can select SSH, which is a very high level of encryption. I'll show you how to generate these keys with RStudio. For now, I'm going to just select SSH because I have mine set up already. I'll copy the link and allow me to share my R studio with you shortly. Give me a second. I think I have a loss of PDF. Okay, R studio. Okay, so it's that easy in R studio. You simply click on File, New Project. I'm going to choose version control over here. It is a Git. This is another file version control, but Git is the most popular. I'll paste the URL in it. This is the name that I want to give to the folder, and this is where it is going to be stored. So I'll simply say create project. And if it is wrong, forgive me, I'm coming. I have my SSH messed up, but it's something I can quickly resolve. And this is why I actually like working with source tree because it's sort of loose everything. So I'm going to go to clone. I'll paste the repository. It's about the same thing. Nothing should change. It is going to check that this is a Git repository, meaning that it can work. Let it finish this clone, and let me say clone. Okay. So I have all the files over here, which shows I can open it in Explorer to review the file. I currently have no file, so that is normal. I'll pause here for questions before I proceed to the next section. If there are any questions, I'll gladly answer them. Any question? I'll take that as no question. Okay, so I'm going to switch back to RStudio and okay, so I have the local folder. I will just navigate over there. It's an existing directory. Okay. So this is where it puts the local files for me. Oh, sorry. It didn't switch. Okay. Okay, so it has now switched to the new directory, which is what I expected. I'm just going to create any R file. I like Kwaku, so I'll select Kwaku. I'll use the default setup. I have my Kwaku document here. Let me save it. Okay, so once that is done, if you have set up, if the project is under version control, you see this Git here in your R Studio. Once I'm ready to upload my changes, I'll select commit. Commit will tell me these are the files that are available. I'll use Control A to select all of them and just hit space that I want to. I need to provide a commit message. So I'll call this one initial and I'll say commit. That is done. Once I can also push. Okay, RStudio is going to ask for those keys, which I'm sure I don't know the keys or I've forgotten what the keys are. So I'm going to jump back to source tree. Source tree should detect those changes. In the document, I created one which in the document I created, excuse me. Okay, so these are the files that are there, meaning they have been added. I'm going to push my changes to the server and hopefully everything should work out as expected. Okay, it says I have pushed the files. A green button here means they have been added. If you remove a file, it will have a minus sign indicating that you have removed a file. I'm going to switch you back to uh, the browser to show you that the files have been uploaded. Give me a second. Okay, so back to my my web interface. You can see the files have been pushed over here and they were pushed a minute ago. If I were to add a file online and commit the changes, I'm not going to make any changes to. I can always move back. I think team should have a way of, maybe I don't know how to change to different sharing. I cannot find that button. So forgive me for stopping it and coming back. If we come back to source tree, I'm going to do a fetch. The fetch will display if there are changes. It says there is one change which I don't have, and I can pull the changes to what I want to, so that they read me. I just created a file online. So it will be the same for you and the rest of your team. You can add files, you can remove them, and do whatever you want with them. I'll pause for further questions before I end with the last part. If there are any questions, I'll gladly answer them.
I just have a quick question about source tree. Do you find it's better than because I guess it does the same thing that GitHub does, right? In terms of showing, or is it different?
GitHub is the server.
Mm-hmm.
Source trees just makes it easier so that you don't have to be writing command line. You don't have to write. Yes. Because all these things we are doing, we could have just written them on the command line and it would work.
Mm-hmm.
If source tree only makes it easier for you.
Okay, I see.
Yes. I like source tree because the buttons are like very apparent and I can work with more than one project at the same time.
Okay.
Which you wouldn't find in it doesn't have an interface for you to make changes to your files. No, that is not part of source tree.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Pleasure. So in the document that you received, there are about a few verbs that I put there. There is clone, and clone means to make a copy of a project. Then there is commit. Commit, if I make changes to any file over here, I'm just going to make changes. I won't switch windows. Okay, so it's saying that I have made changes to this file. The red one is telling me that I have removed this, and the green one is saying I have added this file rather. Okay. Commit means if you save the changes. If you are using R Studio, I think it skips the staging and unstaging, but you can stage a file. Once a file is staged, it means you are ready to commit it. If it's unstaged, it means it is still in edit mode. Even for the same file, I can go back and edit it again so that there will be a different version for the staged and a different version for the unstaged. Once you are satisfied, you can choose the one that you want to share. Tool, as I demonstrated, means if you get resources from the server where the files are stored. Once I make the changes, I will use push to send my changes to the server. Fetch means you should get the changes, but it shouldn't replace any file. It should just inform you that there are changes on the server which you need to pull, but it will not pull the changes. Branch means I have a master branch here. Some may call it main, either way. And this is where the full power of source tree comes into play, because I can actually create a different branch and work with that branch. So origin, master, I can check it out. And because I have one called master, I have to create one and say master 2. Master 2 is now what I'm working with. All the changes that I make here will not affect the changes that are here. So your colleague can be working on a different branch, working on different documents. But once you finish, you can merge everything together into one document. Okay. There are more verbs which I put in the document for your error. And I believe if you have issues, you can always send me a mail and I'll gladly assist you. At this point, I'll pause. If you have any comment, question, or contribution, I gladly welcome it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kwaku. Are there any questions? Has anyone used Git before in this group?
Yeah, I use it a lot in my work, and yeah, following through. Think everything is okay. I really like using the command compared to using the tools. But I think it's just preference and experience. With time, if you start using the tools, then you'll get used to, and you go over to write up the commands because they're quicker, they're faster. That's the only difference. Yeah, but I think if they all get work done.
I agree with you. The moment if you can start with the commands, it will be better. But if you can't, it's okay to start this way. And as time goes on, you learn a command or two to get you out of trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only ever tried it command line, so knowing about source tree is good.
Well, one of the challenges is running into a conflict. So maybe Kwaku can explain, run us through a conflict that we
Okay.
have to see. Yeah.
Okay, so conflicts occur where I don't know if we have time. I can demonstrate how conflicts can occur. Do we have the time?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So I'm going to make changes using the online. I'm going to make changes to this Kwaku QMB. Okay. So presently it says HTML. I'm going to, okay, where's edit? And now I'm going to save it to docx. So Get has given me a message. The message you can type in your own, which you should, because you should explain what has gone on to everybody. Okay. Now I'm going back to source tree. Okay. So let me fetch. Okay. So it says I can pull something, but if I attempt to push, this should result in an error because I have made changes to that same line for both of them. Okay, so let me attempt to push. Let me push to master to trigger the error. Okay, so here it says so many, but basically what it's saying is that fail to push some refs, blah, 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 where the push branch is behind the remote. When you get this, it means there are changes on the server which you don't have. The easiest to do is to say, I'm pulling. So let me pull the changes. But here I'm pulling from master. The line. Remote branch to pull into this. Okay. Oh, I've been able to. Okay, it has come back to staged. Let me push it and see if I can trigger. It should result in merge conflicts. Yes. It should result in merge conflict because there are changes in both files at the same location, which is telling you that it cannot do so. And the warning is here. You can open the file and let me share. When I opened the file, this is the error that is coming. So it is telling me that from the head, which is the one that is online, it is the one I have here is PDF, but on the server it is docx. What do I want to do? I can resolve this issue by now deleting this file. If you are using something like RStudio or Visual Studio Code, it actually makes it easier because the changes or the conflicts can be at many parts or many lines in the document. So here, I know that I should do this. I'll just delete the files and let me share source tree again. Okay. I now have changes and stage. I'm going to stage it. And I can see that the changes have been made. I now have docx as my final. Let me commit it. It has given me a commit message that there's a branch. You can read it, modify it to what you think should be right. I can now push this. And I'm going to push from master 2. Instead, ideally, I should push to the same branch name. But I think just for demonstration purposes, you shouldn't do this. You should rather push to a different branch because this is the branch which contains the right code. If everything goes well, yes, I should be able to push to. So, Nashon, I hope I've described the conflicts, the merge conflict and other things.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
You can do them by hand, but there could be many. If you are working in a 200, 500 line document, you can't do it by hand. The easiest is to use a tool like Visual Studio Code. I don't think I've used RStudio for that purpose. And even source tree can help you merge or resolve those conflicts. Then I should also add a very important thing. That is the gitignore. There is a file called gitignore which contains all the files that you don't want to be uploaded. And if I can show you a quick demo. And we are going to actually go to RStudio for this demonstration. Okay, so I have this document. I'm going to render it. It's a Kwaku document. Okay, so everything worked fine. Okay, I didn't want a Word document to be opened. So let me change it to HTML. Okay, so this file and this file are a product of the Kwaku process, and this two, no, these two files rather, or including even the docx if I rendered it, they should not be committed to source. The reason is they change with each file. So assuming I change this to Kwaku, these files are going to change because of the changes here. But I don't want them to be part of what I will upload. The easiest is to come to your gitignore. So the gitignore file tells which file should not be uploaded to the server. And I'll just add Kwaku files. This is the folder I'm referring to, that it shouldn't add it. And I'll say you should not add any file that ends with HTML. Once I save this, I should come to commit. And you see, even though there are changes to some new files have been added, it has ignored them. It doesn't include them in the folders. Let me reverse this and see if you come to commit, you see it is attempting to upload these files, but I don't need them. And they shouldn't be part of commit. For good measure, I also have to say any file that ends with docx, it shouldn't And if I'm going to have doc anything and I don't want it, I think I can do this. And this would mean it should always exclude those files. So I'll say exclusion and comments. So that I haven't answered. Okay, so I can now use source tree to push. I have my SSH keys messed up. It's something I'll fix later. So I won't demonstrate with that. But that's what the get ignore file does. Any questions with that one too?
I don't see anyone's hands up. Any other questions for Kwaku?
It's not beautiful when you start, but over time you get used to it, and we should make it part of our workflows. You have to collaborate, and if you can't collaborate by just sending files on a pen drive, no, I think we have moved beyond that stage. The best way is to use a software like it for these purposes. And you can even use it for regular file, like a Word document. You can use it to control what happened, because Git is agnostic. Whether it's an MP3 file or a video file, as long as there are changes in the file and it detects it, it tries to, it will work with it. But I think if you are not paying on GitHub, there's a limit to the file size you can have. So make sure you are not uploading sensitive and large files unless they are absolutely necessary for what you want to do. If you have your work, you can always share, so people can come and help you.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, Git is, I can second this. Git is very, very useful. And is totally changes workflow for sure.
To generate your SSH keys, which you can use your passwords, but you quickly get bored having to enter a password. You go to Tools, Global Options, Get SVN, then this is your public key. This is you can give this to anybody. It doesn't mean much, but under no circumstance should you share the private key with anybody, because this process is used to authenticate you. In our studio, at this point, you can just click on create SSH key, which I think I will have to do because my keys are messed up. I may have set a password which I don't remember. Yes, so you select, I think this is the latest standard. This is where it is going to be kept. And I'll say, yes, you should replace the key. So this is my signature. As I said, we don't need it. All I need is my public key. Then I'll go to GitHub and paste the public key over there, replacing. Actually, if I'm using too much time, please let me know.
Oh, no, I think if you can just wrap up after this one, that'd be great. Maybe just have a couple of quick agenda items after.
Okay. So I'm supposed to come to settings and SSH keys. Okay. So I think I need to add a new SSH key and I'll paste it over here. And this is the most brilliant key name ever, new key. I believe our studio should subsequently work easily now. Okay, so that's all of it. And I can confirm that my R studio is now working without, even though you didn't see it. It worked on my machine.
Yay. Thank you so much for the presentation.